We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Standing up to China, Kansas votes against abortion bans, debt on the rise, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan in what she called a show of U.S. solidarity with the self-governing island, which China claims as part of its territory. Pelosi, the highest-ranking American elected official to visit Taiwan in 25 years, met with Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen early Wednesday. America's solidarity with the 23 million people of Taiwan is more important today than ever as the world faces a choice between autocracy and democracy, Pelosi said in a statement. China responded by sending warplanes to buzz the dividing line in the Taiwan Strait and planning live-fire air and sea military exercises and missile tests near Taiwan, saying Pelosi's trip seriously infringes upon China's sovereignty. Kansas voters on Tuesday resoundingly rejected a proposal to remove abortion rights from the state constitution, with 59% opposing the amendment and 39% supporting it, after 95% of the votes were counted. The decisive margin in a red state marked a major victory for the abortion rights movement and the first test of voter sentiment since the Supreme Court overturned the constitutional right to abortion in June. The voters in Kansas have spoken loud and clear. We will not tolerate extreme bans on abortion, said Rachel Sweet, the campaign manager for Kansans for Constitutional Freedom. This vote also goes to undermine the Democratic talking point that abortion rights are in danger across the country because of this Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court gave states the right to make their own laws. Those laws have to be ratified by the voters. And guess what? The system is not as extreme as Democrats want you to believe. U.S. household debt rose above $16 trillion for the first time during the second quarter, the New York Federal Reserve reported on Tuesday. Credit card balances jumped by $46 billion, even as interest rates rose. Credit card debt has increased by $100 billion, or 13% in the last year, the biggest proportional increase in more than 2 decades. The New York Fed said people are adding to their credit card balances to keep up with the highest inflation in 4 decades, and borrowing costs are rising as the Federal Reserve aggressively hikes interest rates to cool down the economy and curb inflation. The impacts of inflation are apparent in high volumes of borrowing, the New York Fed researchers wrote in a blog post. This increased debt shows the effect of the recession, even as the Biden administration tries to redefine the word and deny that we are in a recession and that the economy is getting more and more precarious. The State Department on Tuesday announced more sanctions to punish Russia for invading Ukraine. The targets this time included dozens of Russian companies and individuals, including oligarchs close to President Vladimir Putin and technology firms linked to the Russian military. As Ukrainians continue to valiantly defend their homeland in the face of President Putin's brutal war, Russia's elite are running massive revenue-generating companies and funding their own opulent lifestyles outside of Russia, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said. Some of the targets have already been punished by the European Union and Britain. According to the New York Times, The Treasury Department also imposed new sanctions against several wealthy Russians, including Putin's rumored girlfriend, Alina Kabeva. Sanctions have had no effect on Russia so far and have done nothing to slow their actions in Ukraine. That's the raw naked truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and any other podcast platform that respects freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.